Hi, this is Jay from MasterGuitarSchool.com. In the last lesson that we did on modes, we put all 7 of the modes of the major scale into a scalar context. We showed how each mode is derived from a scale degree and has to include the notes in the scale and none others. In this lesson, we're going to put the modes in their harmonic context. That means chords. Why do certain modes go with certain chords? That's what this lesson is about. Going to be a lot of talking and less playing because a lot of this is just conceptual. To understand how modes correspond to chords, we need to understand how chords are constructed from scales. Okay? So if we have a C major scale, we're going to stack the notes of that scale up vertically by thirds. Okay, so C to E is a third. That's the first and the third note of the major scale. The third of E is G. So we have C, E, G. That's 1, 3, 5 of the major scale. That's a C major triad. If we go to the second note of the scale and we stack up thirds from the scale, that's D, F, A. In terms of the C major scale, that's 2, 4, 6. Okay? The third note of the scale is E. Stacking thirds on that, E, G, B. Those are the notes of E minor. That's an E minor triad. That's the 3 chord in the key of C. In terms of the C major scale, it is scale degrees 3, 5, and 7. F is 4. There's your F major triad. The scale degrees in terms of C are 4, 6, and 8, or 1. F major, and so on. You just keep stacking the notes of the scale in thirds from each note of the scale. So you can hear the scale. Okay? We covered all that in Unit 3, triads. So if you are interested in the chordal aspect of all this, go back and look at it. If you don't have it, you can pick it up. If you're a site member, you can pick it up cheap at MasterGuitarSchool.com. Okay, so each chord in the scale corresponds to a mode. Remember from the last lesson, the mode that's derived from the first note of the scale is the Ionian mode. The mode that would correspond to the first chord of the scale. The second mode of the major scale is the Dorian mode. That would correspond to the second chord of the scale, D minor. That's why Dorian is a minor type mode. It corresponds to the second chord of the scale, which is minor. And so on. 3 is Phrygian. That's a minor. 4 is Lydian. That's a major chord and a major mode, and so on, all the way up the scale. We've been talking in terms of triads here. If we add another third, we have a 7. Root, third, fifth, 7. The concept is the same. You're just using 4-note chords instead of 3-note chords. 1 is major 7. 2 is minor 7, 3, minor 7, 4, major 7, 5 has a flat 7, it's dominant, 6 is minor 7, 7 is half diminished, and 8, which is 1, is major. That's covered in Unit 4, 7th chords, scale tone 7ths. The way we actually play them, I played them in numerical order. But that's not a very guitar-centric way to do it. In the key of C, we revoiced the chords. They're root 5, 7, 3 instead of root 3, 5, 7. Easier to play on the guitar, but the concept is the same. 1 is major, 2 is minor 7, 3 is minor 7, 4 is major 7, 5 is a dominant 7, 6 is minor 7, half diminished, and 8 is 1. And you can hear the scale. Again, if you don't understand all that, half diminished, minor 7, major 7, dominant 7, unit 4, 7th chords. So, that is how modes relate to chords. It all goes back to the major scale. You build the modes from the major scale, you build the chords from the major scale. We're going to play scale tone 7s in the key of C, and along the bottom here, you'll see the chord names, the scale degrees, the chord types, and the modes that correspond to each scale degree. The important thing that I want you to see is the chord number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in Roman numerals, and the chord type, okay? Major, minor, dominant, and so on. So C major 7, that's the one chord. The mode is Ionian. The chord type is major 7. 2 is minor 7, D minor 7. The mode is Dorian. The chord type is minor 7. 3, E minor 7. That's Phrygian mode. It's a minor 7 chord type. 4 is F major 7. That's a major 7 chord type. It's a Lydian mode. 5, G7. That's a dominant 7 chord. The mode corresponding to that is Mixolydian. 6 is A minor 7. The chord type is minor 7. The mode is Aeolian. 7, that's half diminished. It can be written B minor 7 flat 5 or B half diminished. It's all the same. The chord type is half diminished. The modal correspondence is Locrian. And then you have 8, which is the octave of 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the issue in terms of figuring out from a chord progression what mode you should be using is what we're going to deal with here. Ascertaining the key you're in from a chord progression so that you know what mode in which to hear and think and feel, okay? There are some easy ones. First, if you look at your chord types, you'll see that there's only one dominant chord per key. A dominant chord is just written 7, G7, okay? So if you see a dominant chord, you know that's 5. So if you see A7, if A is 5, what is 1? D. Okay? And you can figure that out by playing your A 5, whole step to 6, whole step to 7, half step to 8. There's 1. That's D. If D is 1, A is 5. Okay? So that's a giveaway. When you see a dominant chord, that tells you what key you're in. That's a 5. Okay? There's another chord that there's only one of per key. That's 7. It's a half diminished chord or a minor 7 flat 5 chord. So if you see minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished, you know that's 7. So if you see B minor 7 flat 5, C is 1 because B is 7. Those are the easy ones. Okay? Now, there are 2 major chords per key, 1 and 4. All right? So how do you know what key you're in when you see a major 7 chord? Like if you see an F major 7, is F major 7 1 or is it 4? Okay, so you have to look at the context. You look at the chords that are surrounding it. Let's take an example. Say you see a chord progression that goes like this. Okay? So you have F major 7, E half diminished, A minor 7, D minor 7. The giveaway. There's a giveaway. E half diminished. There's only one half diminished chord per key, and it's 7. So your E is 7. That means the F major is 1. Okay? The A minor would be 3, and the D minor would be 6. So you're in the key of F. Therefore, F Ionian, that's an F major scale, or any of the modes that are in the key of F, okay? In terms of what's in this progression, it would be E Locrian, it would be A Phrygian, and it would be D Aeolian. Any of those modes would work over this progression. Well, let's take another progression with F major 7 in it. We're trying to ascertain, is F 1 or is it 4? Okay? What if you were to see F major 7, G7, A minor, D minor? Is there a giveaway in that progression? Yes, there is. The G7. It's a dominant chord. There's only one dominant chord per key. It's 5. So if G is 5, what is 1? C. If C is 1, what's F? 4. So in this case, F major 7, G7, A minor 7, D minor 7. You're in the key of C. Even though there's no C in the progression, you're in the key of C because you have the G7 in the progression. The G7 is 5. That makes the F4. That means you'd be playing F Lydian, okay, G Mixolydian, A Aeolian, and or D Dorian. So you look for the giveaways. Okay, the main ambiguity is minor chords, because there are 3 minor chords per key, 2, 3, and 6. So any given minor chord could be 2, which is Dorian, 3, which is Phrygian, 6, which is Aeolian. Again, the context is what you have to look at. From 2 to 3, that's 2 minor chords that are a whole step apart. Anytime you see 2 minor chords that are a whole step apart, you're looking at 2 and 3. Okay? For example, this progression, A minor 7, B minor, C major, B minor, A minor, B minor, E minor. All right? The C major, see, that could be 1 or 4. The A and the B minor are a whole step apart. So that would be 2, 3, 4. A minor is 2, B minor is 3, C major is 4, B minor is 3, A minor is 2, B minor is 3, E minor is 6. You're in the key of G because A is 2. There's no G in the progression, okay? But still, you're in the key of G because you have the A and the B minor a whole step apart. You're looking at 2 and 3. The 6th chord, which is minor, has the 5 on one side and the 7 on the other side. Whole step each, okay? So when you have a minor chord and you see a half diminished a whole step up from it, or you see a dominant chord a whole step below it, you're looking at 6. For example, D minor 7, E half diminished, A minor. Okay? In that situation, the half diminished chord is the giveaway. D minor is 6, E minor 7 flat 5 is 7, and A minor 7 is 3. You're in the key of F. Okay? So the D minor 7 would be Aeolian, the E half diminished would be Locrian, and the A minor 7 would be Phrygian. Or you could use F Ionian, G Dorian, whatever, C Mixolydian, B flat Lydian. Those are all in the key of F, and all those modes would fit in that situation. So all the examples that we've used here have been diatonic chord progressions, otherwise known as diatonic harmony. The word diatonic means that all the chords in the progression are in the same key, one key, okay? That's the situation where modal theory works. However, there are many common non-diatonic situations where the logic of modes doesn't work. Like a blues that uses all dominant chords. You're playing 1, 4, 5 and they're all dominant. Okay, that's not diatonic. 1 should be major 7, 4 should be major 7. Only the 5 chord is dominant. Okay, but there are many, many blues tunes. There are many tunes that are non-diatonic, but the blues in general is not diatonic. So in that situation, as I said when I first started this series on modes, your decision about which mode to use is determined by what you want it to feel like, what you want it to sound like. The modal theory could be a place that you can begin, but the rules of modal theory don't always apply. They work the best in diatonic situations. So, and the diatonic situation is based on scale tone chords, scale tone triads, scale tone 7s. Again, you can get all that information in Unit 3 and Unit 4 of my method, Vertical Truth Chordal Mechanisms for the Guitar. It's available at masterguitarschool.com. There's going to be one more concept that I want to steer you towards when going modal, and it's what I call the money note. And we'll save that for the next lesson. We'll see you then.